everyone, I'm Lizzie and this is Lizzie Reads and welcome back to my channel. I don't know where I put my notes, but we're just going to talk through it. I'm sorry about the old setup today. It's not the best, it's not ideal, it's not really what I wanted, but I'm really excited to be here today filming to talk to you about what has been the best series that I've read this year. And I'm going to preface this by saying this series definitely isn't going to be for everyone, and I'll sort of go through that, but it is the From Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L Armentrout, and then the sequel, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L Armentrout. And today, as you see it, Crown of Gilded Bones will have come out, which is the third, and I'm really so excited to just be back in this world. So I'm going to give you this is going to be part spoilery, part not spoilery, but the spoilery half of the video will be second, and I will let you know when I'm going to talk about spoilers. So I will sort of, but I'll be talking about the books together. There will be some differences, and I will talk about them slightly separately, but the books will be spoken about together, so there are spoilers for the series as a whole. So if you've read the first one but not the second one, then maybe don't watch the second part of the video because there will be spoilers. Because I think the main reason I'm filming this video is because I want to talk about the spoilers, because the spoilers are really interesting to me and the things that I want to talk about, but I don't know anyone in my real life that's read it, so I'm coming to you guys. So let's start with this. Ash is a fantasy romance about a young girl called Poppy who lives in Macedonia, and she has these slight powers where she can sort of feel someone's fear, and like she can like control their fear and try and relax them, but she's also the maiden, so it's quite political in the sense that she is almost living in the court, and she wears a mask all the time, and not a face mask like we've been wearing to protect ourselves from COVID. No, she wears a full mask. I think you can only see her eyes, and she is not to be glanced upon by basically anyone. There's a very small group of people that can see her. She lives in the court with the Duke and Duchess. So not the capital with the King and the Queen, but she lives with the Duke and Duchess and in the court and all the people around her. And essentially there's a process in this world called the Ascension, and it's almost like a gift from the gods. But throughout the whole of the first book, you don't know what the Ascension is, and I'm not going to go into details about that about what the fantasy elements are too much, because I think the idea that Poppy doesn't know and you don't know is really interesting and really intriguing throughout. But Poppy's parents are unfortunately passed away, and her brother has gone to the capital because he is now an ascended, and she's sort of rebelling against the rules against her quietly. She's treated like a very traditional woman, like she's not, but in the sense that she has to be pure, and like she can't see anyone, talk to any strangers. The only people she can talk to is her handmaid, the ascended that live in the castle that she lives in, and her bodyguards. Very select few people can see her face, very few, but she's got 2 friends. Well, she got 3 friends. She's got 3 friends. 2 of them are her guards and 1 of them is her handmaid. And unfortunately, when a spot on her personal guard opens up, it is replaced. There is a replacement on the guard between a up-and-coming guard in the Royal Guard who is very attractive. She's watched him. He's very, but she also happens to, at the very beginning of the book, have had a interaction, shall we say, with him in a nightclub of sorts, a brothel type, seedy bar type place. Essentially, Poppy likes to sneak out, and when she nearly gets caught sneaking out, she stows away to her room and she has a intimate moment, an intense moment, where she falls into the arms of this young man, and then later he then becomes her guard, and that is the crux of the story. And that's all I'm going to give you on overview. I will mention that although this is very fantasy based, might not be for everyone because it does have like a high level of sexual content. It's definitely not for children, and definitely of people of a certain age. It's very much present. It's not necessarily all the book is, but there are points when it is quite overwhelming, like that. There's certain sections of the books that are very, very saucy, and I really, really like these books. I got really hooked on them. I thought I'd give you a little bit of background of my story on how I got into them. I'd heard some good things about fantasy romance. I thought I quite like romance. I quite like fantasy. I thought I'd try and find like the perfect book series. Heard it was very good. So I downloaded it on Audible and I listened to it slowly throughout January. The first half of the first book, it moved quite slowly for me, not in the sense that it was boring, it's just I wasn't like picking it up. But then it got to a certain point in the book and I really tipped over the edge. I tipped over the edge and I consumed these really quickly, immediately picked up the second on audio straight away. And as soon as I finished this, I felt bereft. I felt absolutely bereft because I was so into this series, so enjoyed. So what I did straight away, bought the books physically, picked up the audio, and I was going through them slowly. I was slowly going through them and like spending my time getting. So I've read these twice and in the first 4 months of the year. So that is definitely, and they're not small books at all. And I've read them both physically, like split the second time with the audio, but I like the narrator a lot. But they're both a good 600 pages each. I like the audio narrator a lot, but I did want to read them physically. So yeah, that's how I sort of feel about them, and I could not recommend them enough. But not to everyone, if that makes sense. It's not one of those books that I would just be like, pick up and read it. But if this sounds like something that you could really enjoy, if you're in the mood for something fun, I will flag in the comments that I'm talking about this now and not at the beginning of the video, but there's a lot of content warnings for this. There is content warnings for abuse. I would say they're very violent. They're very, very violent indeed. And there is some situations that happen to the characters in these books, or talking about trauma and stuff that could be unsettling for some people. Definitely. So I will flag that in the comments, and I will leave a link to the full list of trigger warnings, because I left my notes upstairs and I wrote them down and I'm an idiot. So I will try and make that very, very clear, that there is content warnings, because I think that's very important, because obviously it's not going to be for everyone, and these content warnings may upset certain people. For a bit of a more detailed review, I am going to go through my core pile, go through the core pile elements, because, well, I love G from Books Rose's core pile method. I think it's really interesting. It's a really helpful way for me to rating books. And initially I rated these books by 4 stars, but I think I would put them definitely up to 5 stars. I enjoyed them so much. So let's start with C, characters. I think these characters are so interesting and so intriguing. There's such a wide range of characters. Some of them are really lovable. Some of them are a bit morally grey, but I feel like you really get to grips with the characters. And obviously the love interest, I really enjoy his perspective. I like the way that he looks at Poppy and how he views Poppy and how Poppy fits into his worldview in the unexpected way that she does. And I love Poppy. I think Poppy is so interesting. And one thing I love about Poppy is when I was reading, sort of like when I was fangirling over books when I was a teenager, so many books I just wished, like, where the main character would just be like, no, leave me alone, you're so annoying, I hate you. Or I wish that she would stick up for herself. I wish that they were more aggressive. I wish they had more aggressive personalities, and not that, you know, that's for everyday life, but in the fantasy situation as well, I think that they could deal with some, like, a high level of aggression. And Poppy is definitely got a high level of aggression. She can be very violent. She knows how to fight, which is great. She's in every fight. The fight scenes are incredible, and I'm not really one for fight scenes, so World building, no, I missed A. What's A? Atmosphere. Atmosphere is another one. I did feel like that it feels very tense. I feel like the audio narration in the UK, I don't know if it's the same in America, is so good. So good. I feel like it really helps to build the tension in the world, and the different voices are really good as well that the audio narrator puts on for everyone. So that really helped with the atmosphere for me, I think. And then we've got world building, and a lot of people aren't happy with the world building because they think it's very info dumpy and it just info, there we go. But I think that I like the way that information comes out. So this isn't a spoiler, but in the second book, Poppy finds some information out and she just asks questions. The second book is entirely Poppy asking questions, essentially. They're in between the plot points, obviously. But I felt like that's exactly how I wanted the information to be delivered to me. In the setting, I felt like it wouldn't make sense for Poppy to just find this information out. She would ask questions, and I liked how it built the relationships between the person she was asking questions from, and like I liked how it all sort of like built and came together, and I really, really enjoyed that about this this book one particularly, and that's why out of the two, this is my favourite, because she just asked so many questions, and it felt, I think the audio really helped because it just feels like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I feel like I'm listening and building so much information, and I like the way that it was delivered. It might not be for everyone, but that's particularly one thing I did enjoy. P, plot. So for such big books, the plot points are, there's a lot of detail that goes into each thing. The books span a very short amount of time, so there's so much detail. I think there's just enough plot, and there's just enough like characters, romance, tension, everything for it to be perfect for me. I think that for some people there's probably not enough going on, but for me, I feel like it's like the perfect balance, and it gives me exactly what I want from this series. So there is a lot of plot points that it's just sort of like some general cruxes of each like story so far, but I feel like each one is definitely embedded, and I like the way that it's all parcels together. But again, just a reminder, it's not sort of like every single page of new plot devices. There's a lot of character building in between, but not the kind of literary fiction style character building. It's more like relationship character building and information building in that sort of sense. To talk about writing, and the writing for this is neither particularly poignant, or it doesn't stand out, but it's not annoying to me. There's a couple of times where I think there's some phrasing that's repeated, particularly because of the sexual content. It tends to happen in books with high levels of sexual content that there's repeated sort of phrasing or lines, because it's one of those things that's not explored as much. So I find there's not as much different ways to say things in sort of the ways that fit the world. Other than that, I would sort of say I quite like the writing. I like the way it delivers the information. So I like it. I think it's very straightforward, and I think it can be, there are some really nice phrasing, and I like the dialogue a lot. I really, really love the dialogue. So so then we go to Intrigue. Oh man, I was on the edge of my seat the entire reading experience. I was sat on the edge of my seat, like wanting to know what's happening next. Like even in the first half of the first book, where I was reading it slowly, I was still really interested. It's just that I thought it was going a certain way. Like I thought it was going to be very straightforward, and then it turned out not to be very straightforward, which I loved. Logic and or relationships, like so logic is does everything sort of fit together? Does everything make sense? And it does make sense because everything is so deeply explained. At the beginning you have a lot of questions, and the questions aren't explained altogether, but as time goes on, more things get to be explained. And I think some people like want to know more, and like things don't make sense, but I feel like it's one of those things that it seems like it doesn't make sense because it doesn't make sense to Poppy, and Poppy is our main character, so we're waiting for Poppy to find out the answers, which I believe she will. Once Poppy knows what's going on, then we'll know what's going on. So, and then last but not least, enjoyment. This is a 10. I would give this a 10 over and over, over and over and over and over again. I enjoyed these so much. They were so fun. I just had so much fun reading these, and that is all like I want. That's all I want in books at the moment. It's just really enjoyable reads, and these were so enjoyable to me. I found them really fun, really addictive. They've basically been the only books I've been interested in the last couple of months. I've been in a kind of reading slump, but these books really have filled my reading time because they're the only things I've been really enjoying. There's not rereading, and rereading them brought me so much joy. And I think they're like a automatic reread for me. And I've never ever done that before, where I've finished a book in a series and then gone straight back to the beginning of the series to reread it again. I've never done that before, so that's something really new for me. And let's get into the spoiler section of the video. So this is your 5-second warning that in a minute I'll be talking about spoilers. And I'll be talking about spoilers for both books. I'll just be discussing general things, and moving on to my thoughts for what's upcoming in the new book. So please do not watch this if you do not want to be spoiled. Yeah. If you are leaving me now, thank you for watching, and chat to me in the comments if you want to chat about the book, or chat about like what you're thinking, if you're thinking of picking it up, if you need some encouragement, I'll give you that. Spoilers. Wow. There are just moments that like I want to talk about so much, but I just can't talk about it all. Do you know what I mean? It's just too hard. It's too hard to fit it all in. So what I'm going to say is that I love Poppy and Kieran. I love Poppy and Kieran. They're so funny. They're building such a good friendship, such a good bond. Anytime he moans about her asking too many questions, it kills me. I think it's hilarious. I love that. I really like Poppy and Cat. I love the way he like respects her fighting journey. I love that. I love the way he talks to her about respectfully. And there is an element of her being held against her will, but I think in the aspect of their relationship, I think nothing is done against her will, and there is no encouragement against her will. I think it's more her like there is elements of her holding back from the relationship. And I know not everybody likes this in romance, but my favourite parts were in Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, when she lets go of her fear and just literally decides to just admit that she has feelings for Cass. When they get married, and this is just me going, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, but that's how I feel. I just feel so excited by this series because I'm like, oh, I tried to explain it all to my boyfriend. I found it really difficult to explain. Like, I wish this was going to be a TV show because I just need to see everything on screen. Like, I need, well, not everything on screen, but we'll get there. But yeah, I think they're really fun. And the endings of this, so the ending of this had me picking, the ending of From Blood and Ash had me picking up Kingdom of Flesh and Fire like that. Literally the next book I picked up, I needed to know what she was going to say about them getting married. And then the ending of this, I felt sick when I finished this, and I knew that there wasn't going to be a new one for ages, because I finished this in February. I was like, what? And then I found the first chapter, there was the first 3 chapters, I think, of Gilded Bones, or the first chapter on Gilded Bones on Jennifer L Armentrout's website, and I was like, oh my god, this doesn't explain anything. I need more. I immediately just wanted more and more and more. So they're so Moorish, they're so easily picked up. So I loved those elements of it, and there's so much to it, like everything about Alistair. I want to know everything about that. I want to know like, Beckett, why did Beckett do that? It's so confusing. And the stuff with gods and the pretty Poppy, it's like I want to know the answers to everything, but also I want to see like Cass and Poppy develop a relation, like more of their relationship now that they're married, and the joining. I just want to see everything. And I thought I'd talk to you a little bit here about Crown of Gilded Bones, and just PSA that I have started Crown of Gilded Bones, because I was supposed to film this over the weekend, but I didn't have an opportunity to. So and the first opportunity I had now was on my lunch break, whilst on the 20th of April. So hopefully this will go up tonight. But if you are interested this far, and I imagine if you made it this far, you will know that Crown of Gilded Bones came out this morning, and I had it on an Audible credit immediately to get it straight away. So I've listened to the first 20%, but I stopped myself. I was listening to it while working this morning, but I stopped and I thought, no, I'm gonna just like take a pause. I don't want to get too deep in. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to listen to it constantly, and then I think I might just pick it up again, because I've got the paperback on order tomorrow, so hopefully it should be here tomorrow. Because you couldn't order it straight away in the UK, it only came up this week, so I couldn't order it early to get it today. But I'm really excited because I'll probably pick it up and read it again and sort of take it in a bit more. I am vlogging it, so keep your eyes out for the vlog. But it's a bit different to what I was expecting. But my predictions were, and I will tell you what my predictions were. I was having a few thoughts about Alistair, and I was thinking that Alistair would like come to Poppy, and Poppy would literally shout at him and tell him about what oh, what's her name? What's her name? Shay. Her name was Shay. Yeah. So I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh, I really thought she was gonna just tell Alistair, do you know what? Your daughter Shay betrayed Malik and Cass. You know, that's why she's dead, because Cass killed her. That was just some juicy information from Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, and I'm just not sure where things are going to go in terms of the king and the queen. Like, I think the king and the queen will warm to her, and the queen seems to know what's what. But is she like, who is she descended from? I don't know. Basically, my predictions are, I don't know. I have a little more answers now I've read the first 20%, but I'm going to go listen to the rest of it, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching this extremely long video, and I will chat to you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.